Welcome to another episode of Music Therapy. I am John, your resident mental health therapist, and today we are listening to Tom MacDonald's song of How the West Was Won. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and let's get right into the song. Act 2. Dedicated to the victims of police brutality and those affected by terrorism around the world. This is going to be loaded.
I woke up last night in the living room, left the TV on, fell asleep to the news. I become numb to the violence. I cannot hear no more crying or sirens or stories. My parents are terrorists. That's to the country where I live.
Woo, I hear the pain in his voice, and it's so hard not to be numb when we're so desensitized to all of these shootings and mass homicides in the world. Because if you feel hypersensitive and emotional towards every single terrorist event, it's going to drive you crazy, and it's going to really hurt your mental health to be so emotionally invested in things we can't control.
Stories, my parents are terrorists. That's to the country where I live. Bunch of politicians steady lying on the TV.
Yep.
Still, bunch of young motherfuckers fighting with the police, and the police kill. Bunch of students get killed in an airstrike. No one even care. Like, I wonder if they taught them that they'll never win a fair fight. How the West was won. 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 When the lights go out, maybe then we'll see. When the lights go out, maybe that's what we need. When the lights go out and the job gets done, maybe that will be how the West was won. Had a drink last night, what a city burn that I've been to twice, but it didn't hurt. The images didn't seem real. I'm too far to feel the fear and the anger and hatred, and no one that I know got killed. I sat there and chilled. Too many pictures of people that died way too young.
Yeah, this is really hitting home. I mean, with all the school shootings and all the lost potential and the corruption in the world, and the fact that it's become such a norm to have these acts of terrorism, to have these school shootings. I mean, a ton of terrorism is domestic, and it comes from our culture, and so we have a sick culture in many ways, and we need to work on fixing that so we don't get all numb, desensitized to these mass acts of violence.
Too many pictures of people that died way too young.
I remember the first school shooting that I lived through, and it hit me so hard because I was also in school, and I just couldn't wrap my head around why someone would shoot up a bunch of kids who were seemingly innocent, just trying to learn. And now it's like I've lived through so many more, and now I'm not as emotionally roller coastered anymore, and I just feel like I have become desensitized to it because it protects me and my psychological well-being to not get so yanked up and down from these really heinous acts that I have no control over.
Too many pictures of people that died way too young. Too many bombings for me to keep up with. Remember when there was none. Too many dead for my tears. Too many lost for my love. Too many cry for my ear. How the West was won.
Yeah, and to relate to how the West was won, like the U.S. was founded on the Trail of Tears, the genocide of Native Americans, the indigenous people, and so it's interesting how the song is about how the West was won through an act of genocide, and now it actually is perpetuated by these mass acts of these heinous acts of violence. So we see school shootings, we see concert shootings, and it is just perpetuated in our culture, it seems like. And it's interesting too how in the U.S. there's a ton more mass shootings than, like, say, in Canada or in Mexico. And because Mexico and Canada seemingly weren't built on the foundation of the Trail of Tears, which is, interesting to think about.
How the West was won. How the West was won. How the West was won. How the West was won.
I can't imagine the pain that it must have felt like to get tattoos on his eyelids here. Whew. Wow, they're getting shot at. Oh, geez.
I woke up last night in the living room, left the TV on, fell asleep to the new.
Woo! Yeah, and the really scary thing about these shootings is that we all get blasted with the news in real time, and so it can really damage people's mental health if you're hypersensitive or you take it very viscerally, and it can spread this ripple effect of just angst and anxiety and depression. That I've worked with a lot of people who've been victims of school shootings and survivors of school shootings, and the guilt that they feel is really something that is hard to reconcile.
The TV on, fell asleep to the new. I become numb to the violence. I cannot hear no more crying and sirens and stories. My parents so terror respects to the country where I live. When the lights go out, maybe then we'll see. When the lights go out, maybe that's what we need. When the lights go out and the job gets done, maybe that will be how the West was won.
So you're saying when the lights go out, maybe that's what we need. And it's interesting because I'm thinking of how when people die, it's a good indicator of like, wow, we need to change something. We need to help change the system so this doesn't perpetually happen anymore. And it is interesting how we can reframe a negative as a positive, and through mass atrocities, learn from them so we don't repeat them.
How the West was won.
Oh my gosh, this poor crying woman just got executed. Wow. Oh no, he just got executed as well.
Tom, I just saw what happened last night. It's all over the news. Tom, please pick up your phone. Please. I need to know you're okay.
Wow.
Ladies,
yeah, so that's the ripple effect that we were talking about here, is that the victims, people who die from these police brutality or acts of terrorism, are typically not the only victims. I mean, it's a ripple effect of all the friends and family that they have losing someone before their time. And then not even just the people you know, but also the people in your community, the people in your state also feel this emotional ripple effect. So it is absolutely a mental health crisis that we see when people are losing people they love to acts of violence and terrorism. And the emotional toll often will last longer than some of the physical wounds for the survivors, for instance. The feelings of unsafety, the feelings of hypervigilance, of paranoia are completely warranted because of the PTSD that some people feel, or even having like problems grieving the loss of a loved one. And so it's so important to seek out therapy when you're dealing with these emotional issues, because that they can often go much, much farther than the physical damage. And wow, what an incredibly thought-provoking video. I was not expecting this. But thank you so much for being here for another episode of Music Therapy. I so appreciate you being here. And please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and I look forward to seeing you in the next Music Therapy episode.